Thanks for watching Film Buff, really, honestly. It's fucking great.
Oh, hello. How's it going, guys? My name is Film Buff. Alright, man, it's time to move right on to episode 2. That was a great that was a great season opener. Episode 1, and, it was a bit of a non-stop ride, that one. It kind of just flew by. Excited to keep it going. Before I go any further, I need to thank all the amazing patrons. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for your amazing support. I know I'm not the ideal YouTuber. I don't have a schedule. Only because I cannot have a schedule. I'm not in a position to have a schedule. So my stuff is a bit random in terms of the releases. So much respect, man. Much respect for sticking around, being patrons. I really do appreciate it. You guys are just, fantastic. And, a reminder to anyone else, if you want to check out episodes ahead of time, before the YouTube releases, so early access, check out Patreon. I usually upload a few episodes at a time for early access, and full length, uncut, beginning to end, full length episode reactions. I'm super happy to share those for people who are interested, because a lot of times I do have to cut out some good stuff, just to make the 10-minute mark. Stuff that I'd rather keep in, but something has to be cut out, right? Half of the episode basically has to be cut out. So if you would like to check out the full episodes for the rest of season 2 and moving into season 3, check out Patreon for that as well. Mike, holy shit, one of the best soldiers they had, second only to Levi. He goes down, gets ripped apart. There's the emergence of this new Titan, the Sasquatch, Beast Titan. But yeah, let's do episode 2.
前にもあったろ。俺たちの町が奴らに。あれは門だった。
おお。
アルミ、何を考えてるの？
あの壁ってさ、石のつなぎ目とか何かが剥がれた跡とかなかったから、どうやって作ったのかわかんなかったんだけど、巨人の効果の能力で作ったんじゃないかな。兄がああなったように効果の汎用性は高い。
巨人が壁を。
Oh, is that a piece of the crystal thing? The diamond? The...
エレン、ちゃんとかけて。夜は冷える。
お待たせ。案外準備に手間取っちゃってさ。
Pastor Nick.
なぜウォール教の司祭が？ああ、ニックとは友達なんだよ。気にしない気にしない。僕たちはずっと巨人によって巨人から守られていた。
It's a lot of Titans though, man, if it is indeed all the way around.
知っていた？壁の中に巨人がいることをこの人は知っていたんですか？
ああ。
How deep does it go?
それを今までずっと黙っていた。
くれぐれもうっかり体に穴が開いちまうことがないようにしたいな。お互い。
脅しは聞かないよ、リヴァイ。
Yeah, he's like a fanatic, man.
私には司祭が真っ当な判断力を持った人間に見えるんだ。もしかしたらだけど。
Great shot.
彼が口を閉ざすには人類滅亡より重要な理由があるのかもしれない。
こら、食うな！食うのやめんか！その燻製は冬の美人じゃバカモンが！このバカ娘。そうか、それもいいやろう。一生この森の中で自分や同族のみの価値観。
I've seen that shot a few times looking up out of the forest.
それと心中する覚悟はあるんか？これからどんな危機に見舞われてん助けを請うてはならんとぞ。義務を果たさんもんがその恩恵を受けることができんのは当然やからな。伝統を捨ててでも一族と共に生きたいと思ってる。サシャ、お前には少し臆病なところがあるな。この森を出て他人と向き合うことは お前にとってそんなに難しいことなんか。
あれ以来3年帰ってない。きっと異変に気づいて逃げてるはず。
Oh shit.
そんなここまで。
Oh no. What? That's a small titan, man. Almost look like a man. Almost the same size as a man.
ダメ。切り取らないと立ちどころに塞がる。
Shit. Damn, this is messed up, man.
もう大丈夫ですよ。きっと。
何か
それは
Oh sh.
心配ありません。ちょっと待っててください。多分すぐ。
なんでそんな喋り方なの？
It's a much smaller one.
もうみんな逃げちゃったよ。村の人、母さんが足悪いの知ってた。でも誰も助けてくれない。私もただ見てた。
Oh.
兵士を目指したのだって大した理由じゃないはずだ。大方親にでも。
ちょっとユミル、いい
サシャ、お前はずっと人の目を気にして作った自分で生きてくつもりかよ。そんなのくだらないね。いいじゃねえか。お前はお前でお前の言葉で話せよ。
That's Ymir?
ございます。
うん？
ごめんなさい。まだちょっと。やめなよ。人に言われて話し方変える必要ないよ。これがサシャが決めたサシャなんだから。今だってありのままの言葉でしょ。
Krista, right?
私はそれが好きだよ。
ものはいい。
But that is Ymir.
まあ、今さら口調を変えられたところで。
ねえ、聞いて。大丈夫だから。この道を走って。弱くてもいいから。あなたを助けてくれる人は必ずいる。すぐには会えないかもしれないけど、それでも会えるまで走って。さあ行って。走って。
No, 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 no.
走らんかい。
No. No. Come on, come on, come on, Sasha. Don't get caught.
あと2本。落ち着け。あの獲物は大きくて動きが呪い。
Yes.
やった。あと1本。もしこれを外せば逃げられない。外したら私とあの子が。
Let's go, Sasha. But she's in his grip, though.
帰り地で滑って助かった。
あの子がこっちに人がまだおると教えてくれてな。それがまさかお前だったとは。 あの子のために巨人と戦っとったんだな。サシャ、立派になったな。
お父さん、ただいま。
嘘だろ。
Oh no.
誰かいないか。俺だ、コニーだ、帰ってきたぞ。俺んち。父ちゃん、母ちゃん、ソニー、マーティン、
Oh.
頼む、みんな。コニー、下がれ。俺の
Oh.
俺のコニー、お前らは下がってろ。
周囲を警戒しろ。
Is it dead?
待て、こいつ動けないのか。
あの手足では。
Oh, it's not dead, but it can't.
じゃあこいつどうやってここまで来たんだ。
Is that a human that just turned into Titan? Could that be? Okay, man. Quite the puzzling ending there. So, for Connie, it was a bit, as I expected in the first episode. It's, nothing good's gonna come out of it. Him going back home, because it is in the South. It's a different type of homecoming, not as happy as Sasha's homecoming, or the happy ending at least of Sasha's homecoming. This is more of a tragic, heartbreaking ending. Homecoming, sorry, not ending. And right before Connie gets to his house, there's these quick flashes. I get to find out about his family. He's got 2 little siblings, his mother and father. They really heighten the emotional response, right? And he gets there, and his house is absolutely just destroyed. And on top of his house is a Titan, right? This Titan is deformed. This Titan is incomplete from the looks of it. It can't move. This really does feel like it's a human that transformed into Titan, but it's incomplete. Like, it didn't fully transform. And they made a big deal out of those eyes, man. They really focused on those eyes, the yellow eyes, just like Connie's yellow eyes. They focus on him a lot, the shots. That really makes me think that this actually might be his mom or his sister, unfortunately. And that they transformed inside the house and kind of broke, as they grew, kind of broke out of the house, but got stuck. And, furthermore, it's been clear, they've been reported that these Titans are coming from the South. That's the reason I thought, in the first place, that it's going to be a bad, homecoming or tragic reunion in the first episode, because, they came from the South. Connie's home is in the South, so it looks like Big Sasquatch and his crew of Titans kind of crossed through here, right? But the strange thing here is that if that is his mom or his his sister, at what point did they switch or transform or try to transform? Did the Sasquatch have anything to do with it? The new Titan, the Beast Titan, that's, from the title, the first episode. He's already been here. They came from the South. So something happened, something happened at that point that caused Connie's mom or sister to turn. Speaking of this Beast Titan, how about those eyes? Piercing yellow eyes. Just like Connie and just like this Titan that's on his house. It's a lot of yellow eye stuff going on, I don't know if there's any connection at all there, but yellow eyes, like I said, it's kind of like unforgettable, those eyes, those piercing yellow eyes. Okay, let's just go to the top of the episode. Basically, I get to see Armin at his theory crafting best. I mean, this guy operates on a different level. As Hannes said, he's pretty much certifiable genius, Armin. And from a storytelling perspective, Armin is used opposite to the audience surrogate. And, in this case, Eren, basically because he expresses a lot of the questions and the confusion of the audience, right? And, a lot of times, Armin's character is used to provide these answers to the audience. A lot of times, he kind of spells it out, right? Basically, he's like their source to confirm things almost. And, basically, Armin's kind of thinking of the Titans being in the walls and, like, would the other Titans break the walls if they know the Titans are in there? That was a question I had, and I came to the conclusion that, well, it's not a conclusion, it's a fact, they're breaking through gates. Again, from a storytelling perspective, they're using Armin to clear that up and make it clear and concrete that, they're not breaking through the walls like Eren thought. Eren thought they're breaking through, but indeed they are only breaking through the gates. And Armin's kind of confirming this, right, for us, the audience. And then, he just kind of straight up drops the what if situation of, what if the walls are made of Titans, of like hardened Titan skin, right? And that the Titans are actually protecting them, the humans, from other Titans. The gears are spinning. These are a lot of the questions I had in the finale of the first season. And it's good to see that Armin is, he has the same questions right now. So that kind of tells me I'm on the right track. If your thought process is in line, with Armin, then you're on track. And at this point it is quite clear, and it's kind of in the open now, that Pastor Nick has known about the Titans in the walls this whole time, and an extension to Pastor Nick, just as church. But speaking of Pastor Nick, he doesn't seem, at least this episode, this episode kind of really humanized him. Before this, I just thought he's like this piece of shit, stuck up piece of shit. In this episode, it came a bit more clear that he's not a bad person, or not as bad as I originally thought. And Hanji even deduced that he seems capable of sound judgment, right? So now that makes her think of other possibilities as to why he doesn't speak, and doesn't want to let the secret out. And she thought of the possibility of him potentially knowing something even bigger than this secret. As Hanji said, it's gonna be tough getting answers out of him. He's ready to die. Remember in episode 1, he was ready to die, taking the secret to his grave, basically. So, I don't know, it's some kind of oath he's taking. He's ready to die. So, like, how do you even get him to speak? And like if he does speak, like, what's this punishment he could possibly get? He's ready to die. So, like, and then after that point, it kind of really became a Sasha-centric episode. A lot of narrative exposition surrounding Sasha and her past. And that was good. I liked it. I love seeing background info on these characters, because up until this point, she was set up as like this class clown character. That trope of the one character that's always kind of hungry and always trying to eat, potato. I like the fact that they go into more detail about her past and how she got to this point. Once they start giving you background information, it starts to make the character a bit more, it kind of, before she's kind of like below the radar. Now she's kind of like in there, right? In terms of she could potentially die. They start making you care for the character even more by giving you this background story. So she actually almost did die. I thought this might have been her goodbye episode, basically, but she survived, man, right at the end. Again, super happy about that. I didn't want to see her die, but it really did feel like she's about to die this episode, trying to heroically fight off that Titan for the little girl. So based on the subtitles, it's quite clear that she has an accent. The subtitles kind of changed as her dad and Sasha, both of them, as they spoke, and basically she's been masking it, right, this whole time. And the reasoning for this is presented through her thought process and her outlook on society. Basically it's like she's incredibly proud and simultaneously also ashamed of her upbringing, her social upbringing. Both those kind of thoughts are butting heads for Sasha. And from this flashback, I can see that she's actually quite stubborn, quite one-dimensional. Her thought process is a bit of a tunnel vision thing going on, right? She doesn't see the bigger picture. Ironically, it's the older person, her father, that is more open to change than the younger person. In today's society, it's the other way around, isn't it? You'd see younger people are embracing changes in society and embracing other people. But here I see the opposite. Sasha, the younger person, in this situation is stuck in her lifestyle and doesn't want to leave that lifestyle. You know, her father presented, you know, a question. He's like, why do you think the forest is shrinking? How, you know, why do you think it's tougher to find game? You know, of course, that's because of overpopulation, because of the walls, right? People having a run for their lives, basically, you know, and having to share smaller spaces. You know, and at this point, you see the ignorance of Sasha, because, you know, she kind of blames them for losing their homes. But, you know, but thankfully her level-headed father talked some sense into her, you know, and he basically told her that he's ready to give up their family lifestyle, their identity, for the greater good. You know, desperate times, desperate measures, right? Sacrifices have to be made. He's ready for it, and, you know, that's the surprising part. As an older person in this situation, he's ready to change and make a change, and he has to, you know, talk some sense into his daughter, this young person who's not ready for this change. It really does show how sensible her father is, because he's had this lifestyle for decades, right? So it should be tougher for him to let it go. It probably is tough for him to let it go, but he's shrewd enough to know that he has to let go. And, you know, Sasha has this built-in resentment for these outsiders, you know, because of how they perceive Sasha's lifestyle, like her family's lifestyle, right? And I believe she said something like, you know, why should I care about them? The ones that make fun of us, you know, the ones that make fun of our lifestyle, you know, why should I care about them? And, you know, that brings, you know, and that kind of brings up the concept of classism in this society. And, you know, I've seen classism throughout this show from the beginning, basically. You know, it changes the closer you get to the middle, doesn't it? I saw, you know, Stohes. That was one of the major locations for the grand finale of season 1, you know, the final few episodes. It looked like a different place altogether. You know, it looked like a different city. It just looked completely different because it's a different type of population in there, right? So classism is definitely a thing that exists inside these walls. And at this point, her dad kind of gives up. He's like, fine, you know, be stuck in your one-dimensional thought process, but don't go asking them for help. You have to, you know, if this is how you're gonna be, you have to take anything that comes at you. I believe he said, if you're not there for them, don't expect them to be there for you. So, you know, that, I believe that resonated. That really resonated. But yeah, back to the present. Sasha gets to her village. But then, oh man, strange scene, because she kind of, you know, comes up on a house. Basically, there's this girl, right? The girl is absolutely petrified. She's in a state of shock. She's frozen to that, you know, spot. She cannot move. And they show me a Titan, man. Really creepy, man, because, you know, this Titan is really small, much smaller than even the smallest Titans I've seen so far. So much so that I thought this was actually a human at first. I thought it was a human man until he kind of stood up. Then, you know, it kind of showed me a bit more of the size. But even at full, like, height, it wasn't big enough to be as big as, say, the Titan from Ilsa's Notebook. You know, that was a smaller one, but still pretty large. This one was much smaller than that Titan. So that threw me off. I thought this was a human. Even the facial features and just the structure, it looked like a human. It was definitely one of the most human-like Titans I've seen so far. And, you know, they made a big deal of the eyes. You know, and there's a shot of it just opening the eyes, and these blue eyes, they're focusing on them in that shot, and those blue eyes are really similar to the girl's blue eyes. So, given all that information, the thought I had is this has to be her father. You know, he might have recently turned as well. That seems to be the new going thing here, the new idea here, that these humans are turning into Titans. I saw at the end of the episode with the Titan on top of Connie's house. I do believe that is a human that just didn't fully turn into Titan. And then this situation, a Titan that looks just like a human. If it's not her dad, it's definitely another human that's recently turned into Titan. You know, he looked really similar to Hannes, you know, the hair and like the stash. Now, I'm not saying that's Hannes, but I'm just saying, you know, he looks similar to Hannes. That only makes me think even more that this is a human that recently turned into Titan. Oh man, and yeah, it's just so creepy. Later on, I found out that her mom's legs aren't that great. That's why I guess she wasn't putting up too much of a... She wasn't screaming. She wasn't making any noise. That's just really creepy, man. And he's just munching on her leg, man. And Sasha, you know, came in. She tried getting the nape, but the axe just couldn't get it. Like an axe couldn't get the job done. So it really goes to show you how special those blades are. The swords they use. and how crucial they are, in the fight against the Titans. Then there's another flashback. It's showing me some of Sasha's progression, since leaving the forest and, adapting to her surroundings, her new surroundings and society, and, trying to integrate into this new society. And it's kind of showing me that. And this kind of takes me back to the training episode, the infamous training episode. A lot of things really go back to that episode. I remember in my discussions for season 1, a lot of times I had to go back to that training episode for different reasons, for different characters. Now, there's definitely a lesson to be had in this flashback. I'll get to that. I'll get to that because something else entirely just overshadows this flashback. Krista's friend is Ymir. Talk about hiding in plain sight. That's Ymir, eh? That caught me by surprise. I did not think that is going to be Ymir. I mean, she's been around this whole time. I've known about her this whole time. Again, going back to the training episode, she was the one that was asking Krista about Sasha. She's like, how come you're helping her? Krista brought her some bread and like water after, that run she was on. And back then, Ymir, I guess, is, kind of grilling Krista about trying to help her. Then I remember her from that rooftop scene, and she talked about how it's ironic that all of them are gone and Armin's the only one left. And I remember Connie got angry at her. He called her a bitch. And again, Krista is the one that calmed her down. She's like, let's all calm down. And she made a joke about marrying Krista, or like asking her to marry her at some point. And then I also saw her asking Jean about Mikasa. This is around the time there's like this gag order. You're not allowed to talk about Eren, Mikasa, or Armin, because this is around the time they're cornered, and they're separated, and being questioned about their loyalty, right? That's around the time Eren turns into that, incomplete skeleton type Titan to protect Armin and Mikasa. So she's been around. I remember her. Up until this point, I just thought she's just another, character. Like, she's just in the background. But here she is, and this is Ymir. So this name, Ymir, has been in my mind since I checked out Ilse's notebook. A person of interest, right? And here she is. This is Ymir. I gotta say, I did not expect Ymir to be her, or anyone from the 1 of 4th. That also means I have to change my outlook on my initial take on who this Ymir person might have been. But there's clearly more to it than I originally thought, because originally I just thought it had to be someone like a human operator, right? Or someone that's really impressive, someone that has authority over some of these titans, much like the Beast Titan, right? The Sasquatch. See, that is someone that was kind of fitting my mental like image of who Ymir possibly could be. Someone who might be a human operator, someone who has authority over these titans. To me, that explained, the whole bowing down to her. So yeah, honestly speaking, I envisioned someone a bit more grand, someone like this Beast Titan. But yeah, this really makes me reassess my outlook on Ymir, because if this is Ymir, she's really young, much too young to be the type of person I was thinking of in my head. The Titan did say person of Ymir, so now I'm gonna tone it down a bit after seeing that this is Ymir. I'm gonna tone it down and say that maybe the Titan thought Ilse is a person from a tribe of people. That was one of my thoughts anyways from Ilse's notebook, the post-episode discussion. So this Ymir might not be as grand as I thought originally, and she might just be part of some kind of group, a person of Ymir, a person from this tribe. That was my initial thought as well. But the fact that, it's her and it really took me by surprise makes me also reassess my thought process a bit. Anyone who doesn't have a backstory, anyone who doesn't, I'm gonna start being really suspicious of like everyone now. She's hiding in plain sight. I had no clue until now. So I'm much more suspicious of anyone that doesn't have a concrete backstory as of this point. But nothing here makes me change my mind on Ymir. I'm gonna stick to my initial prediction that it has to be a human operator, and though it's changed a bit, I still I'm gonna maintain that she probably is another spy on the inside. Once I found out about Annie, that episode 17, the female Titan, they made a big deal about it being the female Titan. So Colossal really does look like a male Titan, human operators. I don't think Ymir is colossal. That means she's if she is a human operator, she's gonna have to be someone new, someone I haven't seen yet. So I've definitely changed my stance now on Ymir being some almighty presence. She's clearly not. She's actually really young. She's the same age as Eren and all these other kids, young adults. So it's more likely that she's from a tribe of people, person of Ymir. That's another thing. I made a comment on that. He's really studying her face. The Titan from Ilse's notebook, really looking at her face. And the thought I had there is that he might be confusing her. Well, he is confusing her because, that was Ilse. This is Ymir. So it's all coming together now, She does look like Ilse. Short black hair, same type of facial features, bone structure going on here. So he did confuse Ilse for Ymir, a person of Ymir. And they look alike, So it makes sense. It all makes sense, man. It's kind of coming together. And it's a bit of a yin-yang friendship, right? Her and Krista. Krista's been presented as this super kind, super nice, perfect, angelic type character, right? She came to Jean, Armin, and Reiner's rescue in episode 18. She brought the horses, and, they were kind of just, like, baffled and, like, kind of speechless as they saw her. They thought she was cute. She's a goddess, and I believe Reiner said he wants to marry her. So, but on the opposite end of that, Ymir is, a bit of a mean, rough on the edges type person, right? And she's more of like a tough love type of person. And I see that in this. And even though she is a bit mean to Sasha, I feel like she is trying to teach her something. Something positive does come out of this, I think. It's tough love, but she did kind of help Sasha break out of her shell. And, she tried to tell her to be herself. Basically, Ymir is a bit annoyed. And she picked up on the fact that Sasha is trying to hide her accent. She's trying to speak really nice to everyone, right? And it's kind of taken her off, Ymir, and she tells her, I think you're embarrassed about your accent, and that's the truth. Sasha knows this. She is embarrassed about her accent, so she's trying to mask it, trying to, fit in. Are you gonna care about what other people think of you for the rest of your life and pretend to be someone you're not? And tells her to be normal, and she tells her it's fine. You're fine the way you are. Just be normal. But she's saying in more of an aggressive tone, right? So I feel like Ymir is also trying to help her, but she has a different, different path to that message. So that's why I think this is a bit of a yin and yang friendship, right? Ymir and Krista are on the opposite ends of the scale here. Yet they are friends. So I do find that interesting. They are friends. And, it goes back to the present. How come I remember that moment in time, I feel like that moment, thinking back to that, encounter, it really did help her. And she tells the girl, as they're running, she tells the girl to, just keep running. And the subtitle that came up is running, RUNNIN. So she embraced her, she brought her accent out again. She embraced it. And I feel like this memory really helped her kind of break out of it again. So I thought it was actually really beautiful moment. But at that moment, I was a little bit scared that this might be it. This might be the heroic send-off, like a heroic sacrifice. The music playing throughout this encounter, so incredible, man. Again, oh man, loving the music. Well, it was one of my favorite parts of the first season. It's continued to be amazing here. Again, she showed so much courage in this moment. And she's shooting the arrows, gets one eye, but she's scared that she might miss her last shot. She showed incredible courage to just go in, to just her hand in the arrow in the Titan's eye, and she did it. And at that point, the moment he grabs her, I thought, this is it. This might be the ending. I'm super happy she escaped, the blood and everything. But if she died at that point, I think it still would have been an amazing send-off. That she sacrificed herself. She wasn't going to take this chance of not getting the Titan in the eye, so she just did it herself and sacrificed herself for this little girl, right? I think if she had died, it would have been sad, but fitting as well. But again, I'm happy she survived and got out, and she runs into her dad. And another beautiful moment here is that her dad realizes that she fought off this Titan just to save a girl, and he said, "You're everything I hoped for." I thought it was a beautiful father-daughter moment. And she was incredibly happy, of course, right? To hear her father say this, to be proud of her. All people want their parents to be proud of them, right? So, big moment, huge moment for Sasha. And I believe it ends off by her saying, "I'm home." So I'm not sure how her story is going to progress. If she's going to come back into all of it. She is a soldier, right? So she kind of has to come back. But for now, it feels like she might be done for a little bit. And yeah, that brings you right back to the end, the final scene. Already talked about it. Connie's not so fun homecoming. Tragic actually. So yeah, man. I'm thinking that is, a relative, that is his mother or his sister. Because again, they made a big thing about the eyes. Those eyes are too hard to miss. That the shots of the eyes, they focus on them actually. And if it is his mom or sister, how the hell did they become a Titan? That's a question I have now. I'm interested. I'm excited to see how this all plays out, man. Okay, so if you enjoyed it, please smash that thumbs up. Leave your comments. Let me know what you guys thought. Huge thank you to all the amazing patrons. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for all your amazing support. And there's this awesome group of people on Patreon. It's fantastic. And a reminder to anyone else, if you want to check out episodes ahead of the YouTube release, early access stuff, go on over to Patreon. If you want to check out full length, unedited, uncut, full length to the full episode, go to Patreon and check that out. But yeah, that's about it for this episode. I'm excited to move on to episode 3 now. But yeah, man, thanks for checking that out. Take it easy.